There we go. There we go. Okay, welcome to the May Echo Lake Neighborhood Association meeting. Uh, we'll do a little bit of business first and then get into the presentation portion. And hopefully our audio will not be quite as bad as it was in testing things. But okay, so we have just one other board member. I'm a board member for the Echo Lake Neighborhood Association. Dale Leiden is our treasurer. Um, oh, I'm sorry. Claudia's in the audience here too. Claudia Meadows, another board member. Let's see everybody here. And if people would go through and introduce themselves. Start maybe with Anne, who is, there you are.
Yes. Hi. Yeah. I'm Ann Guthrie, sister to Barbara Guthrie.
And then
who's on the next panel?
Okay, Barbara and Marla.
Hopefully you can hear me. My name is Marla and sitting next to me is
Barbara, another former board member. I was retired in 2014.
Wow. Already?
I started in right after you did.
Well, Dale, how long have you been? I've been a member forever.
I have no idea. 2010, I don't know, 2008 maybe. It's been a long time now.
Yeah, it's funny because I retired from my job in 2014 and thought, so that's why I retired from the board.
And then you knocked on my door and said, it's your turn.
That's right.
Okay. Claudia, you want to introduce?
Yes, I'm Claudia Meadows, and tonight we are going to talk about parks. And I just wanted to tell you my favorite park is Richmond Beach Park. I love the madrona tree that's at the top of Richmond Beach Park. I love to park not too far and then walk up and see the view on a clear day from Richmond Beach Park. So that's oh, and I'm also on the board. I've been on the board for a couple of years, and I'd love to invite anyone to join the board who is the least bit inclined. It's fun. And yeah, so you'd be welcome to join us.
And you
That's
meet new
it
friends.
for me. Yeah.
Okay. And Michelle, you want to?
Yes. Hi, I'm Ann Michelle. I lead Friends of Echo Lake, which is a neighborhood group that works to promote the health of Echo Lake for use for wildlife and humans and everyone around. And I also am a forest steward for Echo Lake Park and work with and am a King County Lake Steward, organizing the volunteers who test the lake water for the 6 warmer months of the year.
And I had said you started one.
What's that? One more time?
Had you started as a steward?
I started as a steward. I'm not exactly sure which year it was. Maybe, has it been 6 years?
Yeah, I put that in the notes and I couldn't remember when you started.
Yeah, after you.
Yeah.
Well, after you.
Yeah, yay, we're happy.
Yes.
Okay. Mallory, you want to speak up for the city?
Yeah. Melanie or Mallory.
Oh, we have two now.
Well, I think Jay was referring to me, but I just want to verify before I go further.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm actually just here as my Echo Lake neighbor hat. I'm a resident that's lived in Echo Lake since 2018. But I work for the city and I have the privilege of running some of the neighborhood programs and some of the other things that are really great about like civic engagement and education programs. But I'm excited to be here and hear about parks and all the stewardship of many folks in our neighborhood.
Okay. Now, Melanie, we can.
Okay, I'm Melanie, not Mallory. Sorry. I'm a member of Safe Shoreline Trees, and I'm just listening in tonight and also a friend of Anne's, so interested in the topic.
Okay. And how about Diane Loba?
Hi, I'm Diane, and I've lived in Shoreline since 1990 and about 28 years here in Echo Lake, and I've done a lot of things in my day, a lot of political stuff when I was younger, a lot of interviewing candidates and doing things like that. But most recently, you might see this little brochure around called Shoreline Climate Action with things to do for the climate, and I wrote that with a few of my neighbors. So that's what you've probably seen. Worked a little bit on the Milwaukee Forest over by the museum. And I still am thinking about my daughter who's 22. She's still at home. And I love living in, oh, and we organize our whole neighborhood of 30 houses. I live just east of Home Depot, and we have about 30 houses that we walk the circle all the time. We know everybody and everything going on. Okay. I
Is
love
Sid
being
here
here.
Yeah, is Sid here tonight?
He's on another meeting. He might be over here. We'll see. I don't know how long his other meeting's going.
Okay. Patrick.
Yes, I'm I'm Patrick Deegan, and I've focused primarily on picking up litter and watching Echo Lake Park and the Aurora Village Transit Center. That's been my concern for about 6 years. So if you frequent the park, you might run into me down there. That's thank you.
And if you use the toilets around there, you might thank Pat for his work in
Right.
getting things plumbed.
Yep.
Gidget.
Hi, I'm Gidget Terpstra. I was on the Anna board for hi for several years and been an active volunteer since we moved in 1971. So we've been in Shoreline for over 50 years.
And then Dana, are you going to unmute yourself? There you go.
Okay, I'm Dana. I'm Jay's wife, and I like to be a mouse in the corner.
Hi, Dana.
And back when I still did this, I used to help with the Densmore project, and can't do that anymore. But I really enjoyed that.
Good.
Yeah. Hi, Dana.
Okay. So I think that's everybody. Oh, yes, we've got everybody, I think, introduced. So do we have a treasurer's report, Dale?
We actually do, yes. There's a funny story about that. I was cleaning some things out, and somehow I deleted the 2025 and the 2026 treasurer's reports. And I finally recreated them from all the documentation. So here they are. I'm going to share my screen. And again, if I look lost, I kind of am, because on my day job, I use Teams all the time. And I'm probably, today I was a light day. I only had 5 meetings. But I live in meetings. And there we go. Share. I'm hoping you can see this. I'm hoping it's big enough. Is it big enough you can read it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So your statement, I always take it off of the last month's statement. So 424. So we're in the $1,585 range. And we had no expenses and no contributions this month. But we typically our expenses are our website our sites and of course our yearly incorporation with the state and some other things. Because we're not meeting in person anymore, it seems weird to say that because it seems like it's so far back in history that we met in person now. But we have occasional contributions from really wonderful people who are many of them, some of them are on this screen right now, and we want to thank them. They know who they are, and they all kind of wanted to be anonymous, but they been very faithful, and we thank them for their contributions. Of these funds, we still have $341 that I'm accounting that are available from the Dwight Stevens bench funds that were provided by our county councilman Rob Dembowski. There were no required attachments, but I've just kind of kept it separate because it feels like it's the right thing to do. And if we want to do repairs and some plants around it, we have $341. Now, again, it's not a rigid attachment, but it just feels right.
Yeah.
So that's my report.
Okay. I don't know that we have any specific reports that won't be covered with what our presenters are doing, but if anyone has attended some meetings outside of things that we're planning on talking about and wants to fill us in on what they've done, speak up.
Well, I have something related to being a neighbor. I see Katie, my neighbor across the street,
Oh,
right there,
Yeah, there's
just
Katie.
joined. I have recently been connected with a group called We Feed People, and they've been doing a lot of building of little free pantries and also kind of inventorying and alongside Shoreline Public Schools family advocate lead who does a database really of those keeps it updated. Um, we Feed People is really interested in working with the Parks Department, which apparently has already started discussion on with the ultimate goal of getting a little free pantry installed at Echo Lake Park. I'm putting that out here, but also know that they are looking for local volunteers, folks to just fill the pantry, but also make sure it's not broken and it remains broken if it becomes broken. And I was wondering if we might be able to generate a group of people who might be interested in kind of caring for the little free pantry. I'm keeping my hand up because I'm one of those people, but thought there might be others in this group as well.
Mallory, I'd like to ask, how or why was Echo Lake Park chosen as a location for the free pantry?
I am not sure, but I think I'd be happy to reach out to the folks at We Feed People and have them come in and clarify. I think probably because of what we know of the proximity to the trail and how often people are moving through there and the proximity to the transit center. And I know also that there's a lot of passion and interest in getting a water fountain put at Echo Lake Park, which
Yes.
makes a lot of sense as well because of its position. So I'm not sure on the why, but I can make
Okay.
my assumptions just based on, I guess, geography and yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, I have a question or my hand. No, no. Mallory, think these folks are aware of the other free pantries that are around within a half a mile?
Yeah, they have a whole list of them. So they work with the family advocate teams at Shoreline Public Schools, and I know they're keeping those lists updated on a daily basis. So like the pantry that's at 185th
Yes.
at the church, that's on there. And I know there was one also quite close to, I think Marla, you and I live very close to one another, but also on Corliss, but it's gone. And they're ever changing, always always changing. Sometimes they are damaged or vandalized, or sometimes they're empty for long periods of time. So I think that this group has really organized recently with months back, big cuts to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. Really is focused on food security and trying to increase the number of little free pantries that exist across Shoreline. But yes, I think that was a long way of answering your question. Yes, I believe they are aware of those that are in our neighborhood.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, Katie was late to the introductions, but you want to say a little bit about who you are and introduce yourself to the group?
I'm Katie, and I live across from Mallory, and I've been a Echo Lake resident for almost 30 years.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any other business before we get into the Diane?
I just wondered, when they keep saying you live in Echo Lake, what part do you live in? I was just curious.
I live just south of Echo Lake Elementary.
So just south of there. Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty, we're north of you. Okay, it's always fun to know where people are.
Mhm.
Can I just say one other thing? Part of it's connected a little bit to the pantries, but there's the two groups, Shoreline Indivisible and Shoreline Solidarity, that are active in the area. And I know that this group, I know Shoreline Solidarity is pretty aware of this group, and and at times, would like to connect and share information and things like that. So is there anybody else on this group that has met and talked with people in Shoreline Solidarity? Mallory, yeah. Anyways, well, I can talk when we're planning for other meetings. I think somebody would like to come and talk about what they do, and a piece of it is connected to some of these activities going on, like building of pantries, and there's a number of activities and things going on. So, okay, just wanted to check in. And I don't do a lot with them, but I'm on their emails or on their texts and have done some trainings with them, which has to do with keeping things safe for folks and immigrants and stuff.
Well, okay. On that vein, we always have the option to bring people on for the last for a 5-minute thing at the end. Anyone that comes and has something that they want to present, we have an open mic session towards the end that we don't speak enough about, but it is a time reserved for that. And if they want to come and do a formal presentation, we can put them into the schedule as well. But any meeting we have that they're at in the last few minutes, they have a little free forum to talk about stuff, sort of an open mic session. Okay. Anything else that anyone wants to bring up before we get into the meeting? And one of the things is that the audio is breaking up pretty badly from Marla's computer here. I'm not sure how we're going to deal with that. There is a way for you to dial in from the phone on and connect it up through an audio.
So we're still having problems with you at this end?
Yeah, well,
we'll talk slow.
Okay. And repeat yourself. Okay. So I guess we'll dive in and see how it goes. Tell me when you want to put the slides up.
You can start now.
Okay.
I know not true, but we'll do what we can with those that we have there.
Okay.
Barb and I are both going to talk together and cover some of the green spaces we have also around the city. So we'll be talking about different parks, different green, urban forest over at the museum, some new parks that are going to be established over the next. Barb, do you want to talk about a little bit of the history of how we got
Sure. So in 2017 is when we be the plant stewardship. And we feel very lucky because I think it went from February every Friday. We met at Shoreline Community College. There were about 30, and we had different lecturers every Friday. It was really wonderful. And we went to different parks in Shoreline, and we got to choose what park we wanted to do. And Marla and I chose Brugger's Bog, which is in the Ballinger neighborhood. But yeah, so I feel very lucky because now somebody wants to become it's only a 1 day a 1 day learning experience. The city sends out applications in late December, and you just meet 1 day. Joy Wood, who she does. She's a restoration. What's her company? Is it? We've worked with her for since 2017, and she was amazing when we did our native plant stewardship program. She thing. I mean, she was really great, and she would have people come and do lectures about things. Anyway, she's had a contract with the city for quite a long time. And then Kylie, Mike, what's her last name? Kylie begins with an M. She got married, so I don't remember her name. And so she and Joy do a 1 day native plant stewardship. So that's what so in 2017 we started working at Brugger's Bog, and you know, I mean, we've put many hours over the year. And it was a great place to work at. So
Yeah, we have not sure if those are in. Maybe I'll start talking about some of the green spaces that are close to us, for Barb and I at least, like Neighborhood Association. It was one of the first projects that they did. And then photos there on that particular page is an award that the neighborhood received for green space, public right of way. So technically, it's not a park. It's a park. One of the former parks directors, Eric Fried, made sure that it was included on the. I don't know if Jay or who's with us tonight, Dale, if either one of you. Some of the photos here have people that were highly involved, and on the very upper left, who has passed away a few years ago, but she was one of the key board members. Well, they're all on the upper right is Ellen Wood, and she on the Densmore side. Barb and I live a few houses down, and then I'm on the other side of Ashworth. But this was, God, 13 maybe.
Maybe, and it was and it was a woman who lived on, and I can't remember. And she was the one who got it going, got a grant for it and everything, and walk along the pathway, but it wasn't, it was hard to walk through it, and a wonderful pathway, a really good pathway along Densmore. I wish I east. Yeah. But yeah, she was really great.
It was a social path, just coming and going. It was the very first place that I looked for some items that had been stolen from our house during that section between Ashworth Avenue and Densmore to look for any of that. Fortunately, the neighborhood association thought it would be a great idea to received a national award for third place for that category of a neighborhood. I'm not too sure. I can't read from where I'm sitting what that actual plaque is for. The pathway work and some of the landscape work still lives on Dinsmore Avenue, right next to. There are 12 townhomes that are being built right next to him, right near 185th. That's I also was the one that helped us put in the pathway over the Miyawaki Forest. The Dinsmore Pathway has had about 4 or 5 mini grants since then. So we have a watershed trail, a watershed art trail. So we've got a bench that was in. We also have a message board and a little free library that you'd see over on the right side of this. Some pollinator habitat signs that were put in, and we're hoping to have a work before the end of May or early June. It's a matter of getting some of us organized first. So look for that in maybe an upcoming newsletter and also on the Facebook.
So a couple things I'd like to kind of add was Suzanne Wynn was the person
That's her name. Yeah, that was.
who kind of took the reins. That was in 2012.
Yeah.
She was also the co-chair of the 185th Stations Citizens Committee, if you'll remember that, where she and I and a group were trying to raise awareness that this thing called light rail was coming to town, and
That's right.
that someday we're going to actually have a station and we're actually going to have light rail. And but she was very involved in that too. And then she in 2013 she moved to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much.
You're welcome. I found the letter that the letter of appreciation that we sent to her.
One more thing I wanted to add about the Dinsmore Pathway. It's a beautiful space. I was over there the other day trying to pick up some cuttings that we had done, getting ready to spruce it up for the season because the grass is growing very fast. And I must have people in less than 10 or 15 minutes, and many of them with the dogs. And that was between about 7:30 and 8 come through there every day. I'm going to guess at least 100, 150 people walk that pathway going east. Of you that are not familiar with it, most of you probably are. In fact, one of the work party came and joined us that day. I remember that, and I thought, oh, it's the coincidence I had just met you not that long ago. And it's also a place where people can rest. We see a lot of people using that bench when it was first installed. We have had people that have spent quite a bit of time there last that needed a place to rest. And unfortunately, he stayed there off quite heavily. And we tried to get someone to come and take care of him. We were also worried a little bit about and it seems as though this public right-of-way space doesn't really sit in, there's no hours. So as far as calling anyone to police a closure, so we went through the route of bringing in the lake. I think it was that works with some of the people out on the street. But by the time they came, he appeared to be fairly healthy, but he also was
Okay.
on things. So it was a little bit of a concern. So I guess we'll move on.
Okay.
And these pictures I just took a few days ago, I think yesterday, Barb. This is of the city where Barb and I started. It's in the Ballinger neighborhood, Balna. It's a large park. It's a park that has a wetland area. So there's a creek coming through there that can be fairly significant creek when it's put in there where there used to be a bog, a lot of cedar trees. There's not a warehouse, but a space we have there. Some of their mosque, Bosnian mosque to the north. A lot of condominium, a few houses, and if about 6 years ago, one of those houses were for sale. To go back out to the car after we'd been working, and I saw a for sale sign that they have 12 new condos at this spot. And I looked over a street and I realized this is in one of those zones for the light rail station over by my Paris. And so I call and I told the city, and they said we need to grab this. So they grabbed the property County, and that was during Eric Friedley's time. It was also the same that helped Pratt Park, which we'll cover a little bit of that. But right now, Brugger's Bog is kind of just starting out. Renovation and redoing the front area, which will have it'll have parking spaces.
Well, and the playground that was there, there's a little bridge that goes over the creek, and the playground was over on that side. It was flooded. I mean, it was not able to use. So the playground, the bathroom, they're going to put up to the east side of the bridge.
Yeah,
It's really bridges where we did our restoration. A lot of blackberries, mostly all blackberries. But they're going to do a boardwalk and leave it that way. And what's interesting too is 17 and all this, there was a sort of wet area that we sometimes, but it's become a lot of willows and cattails, and it's like the bug is coming back.
Yeah.
So
project manager. Oh, he's been working on all these parks that are being restored and updated. This is well, I'm going to go ahead and tell it anyhow. They were digging out. They discovered there was a leak in the furnace and the oil tank. So went by there yesterday to work on that. What they're going to have to do, though, there's a little bit of a delay. Right there where you see white classic Parks Department, Burgers Bog Park. This is under restoration towards the far east side where 25th Avenue is. To some of the oil that's coming out into the ground, and so you see these I think ones are red. So the creation tanks, they have to bring in a couple of them. The company they brings these and drops them. You saw along the freeway when the light rail station was having some work done. So they bring the water that's being the ground in that area and trying to filter out that oil. And in order to set up those tanks in a wetland area, this is in next to a stream, so there's a setback area. So they have to set up these tanks over across the street, and in the photo looking north on your left, you'll see the park. We're on 25th Avenue. Look behind the chain link is, I think, the former Cascade Elementary School. Mm-hmm. There's set those big orange tanks up on top of the tennis court, run in the pipes that'll be bringing the water back and forth underneath 25th Avenue. That's going to take a couple extra months, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, they closed the park in August. Closed for a year. so we couldn't work there anymore. But we're thinking it's
Going to be a little.
Yeah.
And I didn't get any pictures of where we are now. We're just a little bit further north in a really cool place called Ballinger Oak. One of the few places that is people private companies, they can get credit, carbon credits for per increase the green space. And so this used to be a mountains to sound project on that project. They've adopted it on Bellinger Open Space is not a park. If you look on the map, it's up there by, I think it's Cascade Elementary, still up there, almost in Lake Forest Park, but it's still in the city of Shoreline. So we're
Marla,
yes.
Can I break in here?
Yes.
You're breaking up really badly. I'm wondering if we can get you. Do you have a phone you can use?
Yes.
If you select the audio selection thing and switch to phone audio, it'll give you a number to dial.
Okay, so I'll dial one of the numbers.
Yeah.
I'm going to dial the first one up here on top.
You might have to mute your computer mic, or I can mute it for you. Okay, are you getting your connection through the? I'm not seeing you connecting yet. Not hearing you. You're not seeing the phone connection. Nope.
Is that any better?
That's better.
Okay, good. Have my volume turned up all the way. I'm hoping you can hear me.
You're sounding much better.
Okay, good. So we'll continue from the Brugger's Bog. I'm going to put myself on speakerphone here. There we go. Okay. So if you can go to the next screen, Jay, we can see any of the other photos beyond Brugger's Bog. Let's see, we covered Densmore Pathway, we covered Brugger's Bog, we covered Ballinger Open Space. I wanted to see a little bit about Edward Pratt, because that's before we hop over to our last one probably, which would be the Miyawaki Forest. Edward Pratt, I drove by there today, and they're doing a fabulous job keeping that thing free of blackberry now. They just had several open houses where people can comment on what they would like to see at Edward Pratt. And they had a meeting over at the Shoreline Historical Museum. Then they had a meeting on site over at Edward Pratt. And if you're wondering where this is, it's over between Meridian and Aurora on 185th. It's a green space that used to be a little teeny tiny house in a very damp area on the south side of 185th across the street from the Shoreline Covenant Church and the 7-Eleven. It was not any place you construct. My daughter was really good friends with the little girl that lived there. And I think there's quite a bit of underground springs in that area going down to the different watersheds, Thornton Creek to the southeast, Boyne Creek to the southwest, and Mackinac Creek going to the north. And we have a neighbor here, Eunice, that's on Densmore Pathway. She's lived here since Ashworth Avenue was a dead-end gravel road. And she said, we used to go over to the church area and get water from a well in a little building over by 7-Eleven. And I think that might be a good indicator that there was water. And Barb, you had someone tell you that your house.
I did. You know, I moved here in '92 at in Echo Lake, and I don't know. The year I don't know why I think someone told me there used to be a creek in our backyard, so I called King County, and they said there's just tons of springs there. I mean, in our backyard, which is now like a little woodland, we got rid of our lawn. We have cottonwoods, you know, we have spirea, Spirea glacea, and yeah, I mean, it's like there's wetland there. It's pretty interesting.
Didn't someone stop by who lived there and said they used to fish?
Yeah, there was, yeah. In our little creek in our backyard. Yeah.
Pretty cool, yeah. So I think they had some pretty good input from the community. There also was a survey that people could fill out. I believe one of the conditions for the spaces that have been purchased using the conservation futures funds, the taxes, are for green space. This will never become a play field with a basketball court. We have other parks for that. So Edward Pratt will be a green space. It'll be a place for people to gather, for people to walk alone, to have a little bit of history.
Yeah, about Edward Pratt.
Edward
right?
Pratt,
Yeah.
some information about the different cultures and diversity we have. It'll be a great space. So now they'll be in the process of raising funds to actually construct it once they have the design finished. Oh, I guess we'll just finish up with the Miyawaki Forest.
Yeah, and Michelle.
And Ann Michelle will be after us. Thanks for waiting. We'll finish up with the Shoreline Historical Museum over on the west side of Aurora. And that was an exciting time we had back in 2023. The new director at the Shoreline Historical Museum came to one of our Elm meetings and introduced himself. And he happened to mention this Miyawaki Forest. And I had just read a book on the topic. And so I went over and visited with him and found out that they were hoping to be able to put one in. So my husband and I have been helping over there for a couple of years now. That was 2023. And now we're in our third summer of caring. You see Barb here in the front with some other volunteers. I think that's Rosie Oakes there in the middle, and then another volunteer behind her. So these plants here are about a half a year old, and another photos that aren't here tonight with us, but those trees are tall. We have about 50 different types of plants that are in place. And the lupins are blooming. And if you have a chance to walk by, or if you're over at Fred Meyer or heading down to Richmond Beach, just glance over to the north and you'll see this forest growing right next to the museum and the collections building, which is the largest building that's there. The money for this was received through the King Conservation District. The grant came because the city of Shoreline supported us, and it was a city partner with King Conservation District, and so we got a $56,000 grant. Got two 3,000-gallon cisterns which we're just finishing up installing the second one. And we're hoping that we will not have to water too much this summer. 3 years usually is the magic time when these plants have rooted enough that you no longer need to water them as much. We've put the right plants in the right place, so we're not going to have to be watering them. Can you think of anything else before we pass it off? Yeah, I think we're done unless anybody wants to have questions, or we can wait until the very end for any questions if that's better.
Yeah. Don't see any hands up, so I think we'll just go on to Anne Michelle and then have questions at the end.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Nice to hear about all the parks and the Milwaukee Forest, and I'm always so impressed with that you guys do the Bruggers Bog. It's such a huge area, and all those both challenges with it being a wetlands and how important it is being a wetlands. We really need to save those. So always excited by what you guys are working on. So I'll just start with talking a little bit about what's going on with the lake, Echo Lake water quality. As a lot of you may know, the city got a grant from the Department of Ecology a few years ago to start a study to try and figure out why we get so many algae blooms. I mean, this is really a global problem, and it's worsened by global warming. But Echo Lake is definitely one of the lakes where we've been seeing more and more. If you look at the King County records, they track the lake health, and there have been more blooms, including some of the ones that are toxic algae blooms or harmful algae blooms or cyanobacteria blooms, as they call them. And so one of the reasons that, so what the study showed, they were trying to figure out where the phosphorus in our particular lake is coming from. So algae loves to eat phosphorus. It likes to eat other things too, but what humans can have the most control of is the amount of phosphorus in a lake. And so if we can limit the phosphorus, you can greatly reduce the number and severity of blooms that are happening. And the blooms, it's been green for, it's been green this year, really bad. It has not tipped into the harmful algae blooms. They have not had to close the beach. But it's not very, nobody would want to get in really, except for fishing. And so what they did was they looked at the sources of the phosphorus that come into our lake to figure out what's feeding our blooms. We know that we get a lot of runoff, which includes rainfall carrying fertilizer that we all use on our lawns and our gardens into the lake, and that has phosphorus in it. Not near as much as it used to when lawn fertilizer carried a lot of phosphorus in it. That is not legal anymore. But still, we had decades of this phosphorus and fertilizer washing into the lake. And so they looked at, is it coming from our goose population? Not so much. Is it coming from our runoff into the lake? Yes, that is a significant portion, but the biggest culprit is the sediment at the bottom of the lake. So Echo Lake was a glacier-formed lake. It's 30 feet deep in the middle. It has two basins. So there's a lot of sediment that has settled over the decades and, more than decades into the bottom. And in the summer, which is what usually triggers the bloom starting, the lake stratifies. The water at the bottom is very cold, and that causes the phosphorus to release and float up into the water column, and then the algae have this wonderful feast. So once the city knew from the Department of Ecology study where our phosphorus, the biggest source of it was located, they could look at treatment options. And so it was recommended by the consultants to try an aeration system, a much more recent innovation, which the city decided to hold off on because there's just not a lot of data on success for that one, and it's very expensive. So instead, they opted to try something called Phoslock, which is very similar to alum treatments, which some people might be familiar with. Green Lake lots of lakes have been treated with alum, where a little boat goes around the lake and it releases this particulate that sinks in this kind of slurry, flocculated slurry that sinks in and attaches to the phosphorus, takes it down to the bottom, and then creates sort of a blanket over the sediment. It's they chose Phoslock because it's a little more effective than alum. And the plan had been to start treatment this summer, but because we're having so much algae blooming right now, the consultants and King County said, we really want you to hold off because if we treat it now, it's not going to be very effective. We're going to use up our funding, and it's not going to last as long. So the plan is to treat it in the fall or the winter when the blooms die down. And then from what I understand, it could last 5 to 15 years. Some of that depends on how much runoff we get. And so I think one question will be how much of these atmospheric rivers we get and how good a job we do reaching out to our community and the people who are in the Echo Lake watershed and saying, please use organic fertilizers, slow release, because then much less of it washes into the lake and makes us have to repeat the treatments. So a lot of the synthetic fertilizers that you buy in the store, they release very quickly, and then they're sitting there just waiting for the rainfall to just wash them into the lake. Whereas the organic ones, they release slowly. You don't use as much of them, so much less phosphorus ends up in the lake. And so we're continuing the King County Lake Stewardship Program. We just started this month, so we've gone out twice and taking temperature measurements, seeing how clear the water is, looking at other indicators of lake health. So that program has been going on for a long time and helps us understand how healthy the lake is. I would say when we had a really bad bloom about 3 years ago, like all the waterfowl sort of disappeared. It was people kept asking me, where did the ducks go? Where did the birds go? So I've been really happy to know that the tests are coming back negative so far. Yes, it's very green, but it's not toxic. They don't need to close the beach, and the birds seem to agree, which is great. And then, so Echo Lake Park, all of you are familiar with Echo Lake Park, and Echo Lake Neighborhood Association helped design the native plant zone that's in the park. And this was before my time. I've been here for 9 years, but that all went in before me. So some of you could probably give a lot more information about that. But we did start maybe 6 years ago, going into that native plant area and trying to bring it back. It had been really sort of trampled down. There'd been a lot of unintentional damage to the native plants in there, which had allowed lots of invasive plants to come in. Because there was so much trampling down, it became an area that was very inviting for drug use and homelessness, including toileting, which was really may have been connected to some of the high bacteria counts. We're not sure. And so we've done just a lot of work. And Marla was my mentor getting started on all of that. So that was really incredible to have such a knowledgeable angel. I remember the first time Marla said, "Oh, I can't come to the work party this time. You're going to have to lead it." I was like, "Oh, no." No way. I can't do this without Marla. Anyway, so we're still going. So
And you're doing a fantastic job, man. And all of the friends of Echo Lake that she writes and Ann keeps in touch with and sends out the best newsletters. Oh, man.
Gotta do some more of that. But thanks. So anyway, we've planted well over 100 plants in those years. We've got a pretty good success rate. The weeds are way down, and so we've been seeing way less drug use back there. And we used to find a lot of needles every time we worked. We would find human excrement. We still find a lot of garbage. We still find some signs of camping sometimes, but people are spending a lot less time back there, which we can really tell because we have a hard time getting our wheelbarrows in there anymore because the paths are getting so crowded with all the good native plants that are growing. So that's been really nice. And I have a new co-forest steward this year. Edith Farrar is a new forest steward, and she wanted to work in our park. So that's great. She's really motivated. Our next work party, first one of the year, is going to be, where did it go? June 12th, which is a Friday. And we're actually going to start like at 9:30 in the morning. We try to organize a lot of our parties with different groups that give us lots of great volunteers. So several times we've had Wendy Valley's State Farm group, which is right in the building right next door to the park. And she has wonderful employees and they are great people and they come do really fantastic work. So they chose that date and time. So we said, yes, thank you. And so we're going to be doing, getting rid of some of the weeds again, mulching, just trying to keep the plants that are all the new plants in there happy until the fall when we can start putting in some more, a few more native plants when it gets to be the planting season. And let's see. So then I was asked to speak about West Echo Lake Park, the new park property, which is on the west side of Echo Lake, obviously, and south a bit more towards the south end. It was bought, I believe, a couple of years ago by Shoreline, again with the Conservation Futures Fund monies. And so it, like Edwin Pratt, is going to be mostly a green space or contemplative space. Shoreline has hosted a couple of community meetings and offered some different views of plans. And since then, I don't know where we are in the process. The last time I spoke to, I think it was Nathan, he was saying this is going to be a long process getting this particular park permitted, any design because of the protected shoreline. And so they're going to have to, last I heard, they were thinking just don't even expect to hear much of anything for maybe a year. So I wrote to him and said, any news? And I don't think I haven't heard anything else to report, just that we are very excited to have that last sliver of undeveloped property on the lake become some green space. Anybody have any questions for me, or I can also wait? Diane?
When you're talking about the drainage, like from the fertilizer and things into Echo Lake, I always forget where we live north of Echo Lake. So ours drains to Ballinger, right?
You are in the Ballinger watershed.
Right. So it's kind of just different.
But we also love it when you use organic fertilizer.
Oh yeah, we don't have any grass or anything. We have a lot of trees. But yeah, we talked to the neighbors about it and stuff like that. But I was just checking because I was trying to remember the water flow or the drainage.
Yes, right. It just kind of stops at like 200th, I think.
Oh, okay.
A lot of our watershed is south and west of here, and not even very far east. Like Marla, Ashworth is on the other side of the street where the water's, it's like,
Interesting.
I'm not even sure if Marla lives in our watershed, but
that's so interesting.
Yeah. We might be in Thornton. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think most of us are in Thornton Creek.
Yeah, Thornton, right in the middle, maybe. We're right in the middle of all of it.
Yeah. Well, most of our stuff flows down to 175th down Meridian, and then Thornton Creek flows out of that.
Yeah.
And I think that part of the city's plan for treating the lake is to put more funding and effort into community awareness. So I'm hoping that we can work together to do some outreach to other parts of, people in the Echo Lake watershed. Marla?
So just one more question. Remember the cattail pulling parties we had?
Yes.
Yes. Who can forget those, Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah, all sorts, Pat Deegan, all sorts of people.
They were
Non-native cattails. And then I think last year maybe, or the year before, Anne, you and maybe a couple other people on the Friends of Echo Lake thought maybe we're actually disturbing and stirring up all that fertilizer that's on the bottom. And is that still kind of the situation? I don't want to take any chances making anything work.
That was the last thing, that conversation that you and I and one of the King County limnologists, there was a big email thing where the limnologist or the lake scientist said, it might really be a bad idea to pull those things up because the toxins that are created during a toxic algae bloom, since they settle in the sediment and we're pulling up those roots, it's disturbing them, and the toxin can be resting in there and re-release. So it came up again in an email last year, and nothing. We kind of said we're not gonna. It sounds too risky, and we didn't plan anything. And I guess we could talk to them and see what they think now. She sounded a little like she wasn't sure, so it's probably again, but might be.
Yeah, I'll have to. I know we knocked out quite a few of those invasive. I guess we can take a look and see how much has grown back, because we only have the window of time until like the end of August into September when we can pull these things out. But I'm not in any hurry because that's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
But we also don't want to have it to be overwhelmingly overgrown. But I think, we'll have to bring it up at some point with the city and see and the county.
Doesn't it affect the people who want to fish? want to fish there? The cattails, do they affect people who want to fish?
Yes, they do. We had some fishing people who enthusiastically joined in the pulling, just their section of the beach where it got in their way. Yeah, they were like, yes,
Oh, thanks, Anne. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my
okay,
gosh.
but it's
Terrific.
yeah. So, and they said one thing to consider also if the water quality is better and clearer is that root aquatic plants could proliferate a little more than we've been seeing. And we do have that fragrant water lily, which is also invasive, beautiful, but not a great thing. And I noticed that at Lake Ballinger, their fragrant water lilies are right near, at least some of them are right near the public beach, and which is very shallow, and kids can walk, or anybody can walk in. And they're not asking people to like rip these things out by the roots, but they are encouraging people, please pick all the flowers because each flower releases, I can't remember, I want to say like 20,000 seeds. It's some insane number. And
Oh,
I was so
geez.
I was thinking, wouldn't it be nice if we could hire some kids to go out in a boat and just pick every single water lily that, can we pay them a penny a lily or something? Be probably
That's right.
I'm sure they would love to do that.
they might really love it. Yeah, so
Oh, fun. Oh, well, thank you.
you.
That's great. Any other questions?
Pat, you had a question?
I've been concerned lately on the blackberries that are just really proliferating right on the edge of the lake,
Yes.
right over the fence, over the broken down fence that
Yes.
yeah.
I've been sending photos of that fence. Yes. Not much seems to be happening there. But so, I recommend anybody who uses SeeClick Fix, if you're in the park and you see these broken areas in the split rail fence around the native plant area, or like Pat's talking about, the the fence that keeps people from falling into the cattails off the path. The path is all right there. Apparently they did sort of an experimental pavement that didn't work out very well. So I don't know what the word on that is, but sometimes they're really quick to, if you point out something that their parks grounds people can do, sometimes they'll just take care of it right away. But the hardscape, no, doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Yeah. Wow.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Okay, any other questions or comments yes, Diane?
I just want to thank you, Anne, for all your work. And I just remember when you came and then you got all excited and started, and you've learned so much and how much you know, how much you present, how much work you've done. I'm just so deeply appreciative. So thank you so much. Really very important to the community and to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know what else to do with my time during lockdown. Something.
Sure, okay. Thank you. You kept going.
Okay.
I just have to also say Diane has been a big help over at the Miyawaki Forest. And I'm going to be working with your daughter for a little while. I think, I don't know if she's told you, but we're going to maybe do some shoreline farmers market stuff for the Historical Museum. And I'm looking forward to that. And Pat Deegan, you too.
That's great. Yes. Pat, you must be so excited about the permanent bathrooms that are going in,
Ooh,
right?
I
Um,
didn't know that.
I am. It's quite interesting. Metro King County is going to. It's a modular unit. It's a pilot program, I believe, for a year. It'll be at the transit center. They're very nice inside. They're what am I thinking? There are some interesting. I'd invite you all to try them. You do need a cell phone to get in. They talk about other possibilities, but they think that will cut down vandalism and destruction. That's all. They're very nice, and maybe in early June is when I expect. I expect to have the honey bucket replaced by there are a lot of questions. We'll just have to see what they're actually going to put in. I've kind of advocated for a Portland loo that actually be attached to the sewer. These don't have sewer connections, but they can be moved. They can be relocated to try different places. I don't know I'm anxious. Yeah, I'm anxious. I'm ready to see. It's going to be a big improvement, but I don't know if it's going to have the proper access. There's some doubts about whether it'll be open at night. There's some doubts about whether people will be able to get in who don't have a cell phone. These are questions which haven't been satisfactorily answered to me. But I'm really happy they're trying something new.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Metro has put in an incredible amount of work on maintenance, and yesterday morning they're out with the scrubber and then hosing, and they do that once a day. And if you've seen maybe you've seen the entrances. One of the departments of Metro's been planting grass around turf. I don't know how that's going to work out, but the two entrances, the west and the east building, are they're quite inviting. There are more and more people parking there. You can park there and just take a 6-minute ride to the light rail, and people are with the station having more difficulty parking. It's looking more inviting to people parking at. So I think the center Metro is coming back. I mean, they have been for some time a ridership. I don't know if I don't want to. It was very interesting. Pierce County installed one of these Throne Labs toilets at Lakewood Transit Center. There was a quote from the Pierce County Pierce Transit Chief Maintenance Officer. Public restrooms are an important part of the transit experience. We aim to provide amenities that help riders feel more comfortable and supported, which can contribute to increased ridership and stronger community connections. And that, it's quite a statement from a trans. I haven't heard that from Metro. I know the King County Council that's been their message, but Metro for some reason has we'll see. They're doing this, and so I'm always surprised. I'm not too consistent. I'm kind of curious what's going to happen, and we'll find out soon, a couple weeks.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there were those concerns about access for people who don't have cell phones or are there at night. So yeah, good question.
I don't want to strike alarm, but I just want to see what happens, because I don't know. I get different stories from different people, but there is a 10-minute limit, which I think will keep people moving, so I'm anxious to see how it works. I'd like to even see maybe the honey bucket and this, to see if what the count is on each people using them. But I would encourage you to use them so to build up our count number, and I think you'll be amazed. You go in, there's a little music playing, welcome to the throne, and it's quite an experience. It's like a private trailer, probably a fancy home trailer. It might have a restroom, something like this,
Okay,
but it's
so
pretty big.
Wow.
Thank
so
you.
next ELNA meeting is at the Aurora Village Transit
Yeah,
Center.
I expected the first week of June. You'll read it, you'll hear about it. So go check it out. Please, try it, see what you think. And when you come out, they send you a text. How was your experience? And what they really want to know is, was it dirty? Was it? Did you see graffiti or was it a mess? And then apparently they not only are they say they're going to send someone out to fix it, but also they look back to see who used it prior, and they can block certain people from using it in that they think they can in that method. I don't, it might work. I don't know. Yeah.
It must be an app you have to have on your phone. Maybe an app.
You can use an app. You can text a certain number. They give a number, and there's a QR code that you can picture. And any of them, I've only used the text part because I was kind of hesitant. But I don't know which is easiest. Maybe the app or if you're used to using QR codes or apps, there are those things available. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Any other business that we need to attend to here? Any other comments? We can close the meeting and people can stick around and chat with the recording off if you want to be off the record. Hearing no other issues or concerns, I'll turn off the recording.